Welcome back, everybody. It's Sunday. We're out here working. I actually did a little bit of stuff off camera. In the previous video, I had mentioned that all of these bolts for fenders all the way around were cross-threaded and stripped within an inch of their life. So LMC is like 4 miles from my shop. So I actually went and picked up a set of bolts for both fenders, that one and this one. That one I haven't really done anything with because I don't want to slow down this progress. But I went ahead and spent an hour and replaced all the clips. Some grease on there. Can't have that. All the clips all the way around, and then I chased all the threads. So you got one bolt here, 2 bolts in the top, 3 bolts across the front, and the core support. And I used my dad, actually let me borrow this. This is tap and die set from... Well, I think this is from the either 60s or 70s. This is a Craftsman. This stuff is real deal. But anyway, the threads on those things are 5/16 18. So I went ahead and just chased all the threads, and now they all spin in like butter, especially this one down here, which is notoriously hard on all of these. But I got all that done. It looks a lot better. I'm very happy with that. Now that I'm done with that, I'm focusing my attention on the evaporator drain line. So what I did is I touched up the paint around that hole like I said I was going to. Put some touch-up paint. Just get all the bare edges so that there is no rust issues. And then also dug through my grommet bin, and I found, and I don't know if I can get the camera up in here. There we go. There we go. So I found a grommet that goes around that hole. So it is actually a 15/16 by 3/4 grommet. 15/16 being the outside diameter, 3/4 being the inside. The outside of that hose is a little more than 3/4. So I'll show you on the inside of the truck here. Previously I had some insulation, and there's sound ender behind there, so that was kind of fun getting that. I had to kind of peel that back, and that stuff is not easy to come off, as everybody knows. So that is a nice grommeted connection there. So it is airtight, watertight. What I did, since I mentioned that this hose is slightly bigger than 3/4, is I actually put Vaseline on the hose and just kind of slowly got it to go through there. So I think it turned out perfect. So that's kind of hanging down like let me turn off this extra light here. There we go. It's turning down. It's going to land a fender. I'm going to put an extension on it. It goes all the way down and knock my flashlight down. But yeah, that turned out really slick. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this hose to length. I also cut a hole in the carpet, slightly smaller than this, and with just a straight line so that when it lays down, it's perfect. All you see is the hose coming up through, and yeah, that's it. So that'll be it for that. Excuse me, I'm going to put the fender back in, and I'm going to start working on AC lines. I also started, working on what I need to trim on that cover. And I'll kind of get into this more, but I think I need to kind of trim it here. And then I think it's going to kind of come across here and down. So there might be this little finger here. I don't know. Really don't know how it's going to look. But I'm going to start just kind of trimming small and just kind of test fitting it and getting it down closer and closer to where it's supposed to be. I'd like to trim as little of this as possible. Leave this front edge because it has a nice molded edge on there. Leave that on there because it's pretty rigid. It's also got insulation on the back. So maybe just trim just enough to get around the compressor. It's actually the compressor bracket it's got to get around. But yeah, so that's up next. So for now, I'm going to finish up that. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to splice that. And I think put the fender back in because I think we are ready. I do need to do, I'm sitting here, I see these terminals here. I got to do my resistor diode spade connector there, get those going. I do get the grill put back in, so that was progress. I did that yesterday. So, excuse me, just kind of get it in there so it makes it feel like I've done something. So, yeah, anyway, I'm glad to have these finally replaced. Got nice, they turn real easy now. It was driving me nuts. So, all right, yeah, let's put the rest of that line on and get the fender in, see how this goes. All right, that's what it looks like. So, when you're cutting these hoses and hoses in general, I just have one of these flip utility knives, And I use, so DeWalt and Stanley makes them, at least at the depot. They're drywall blades. I buy them because they are ridiculously sharp and they make cutting this stuff. You just like, psh, and it cuts it. Nice cut every time. So yeah, turned out great. So that's what it looks like going through the carpet. I just made the hole slightly smaller than the hose going through it, and that's it. So out here on the outside, I took the excess and hooked it up here. Sorry, that's kind of a weird angle, but there we go. Tilt your head. Yeah, I can get it all. So that'll run down, hopefully past the fender. If not, I'll go get a longer piece of hose. In between that is actually just an ICT billet aluminum coupler. I know it's overkill, but they're from Wichita, so support local businesses. So I bought that off of them. Just a half-to-half coupler. I'll put some hose clamps on there as well. So yeah, that's it. That turned out pretty awesome. So I think now I'm going to put the fender back in now that that is on, and hopefully have enough room. Yeah, I'm going to try to test fit the fender, see how it goes with that hose, make sure it's long enough, and hopefully it's in for good. So yeah, let's get this thing back on the ground. I'll get this wheel off. We'll get that fender back in. Oh, getting so close. Man, none of those things just fighting you. This fender, which should take about all of 4 minutes to put in, took me 45. So I put all new clips in it all the way around, and then chased all the holes. You got the 2 up here, the 3 across the front, the 1 here. And oh my God, they all went in fine except for this one right here on both sides. I don't know if the fender has just changed shape over the years or what, but I had the same problem on the other side, and I'm going to deal with it later just because this took forever. So I ended up getting all the bolts in, and then that one, you really can't see it right there. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I ended up having to get the file out and just kind of elongating the hole just a smidge in both the inner fender and the outer fender, kind of in 2 directions so that the hole would line up. And I finally got it, but it fought me. A lot of these old trucks, the fit was not the same as it is on the new cars. They were a different time, but it's in. And one note here, and you really can't see it. Well, you can't in that shiny spot right back there. There's a bolt that goes through the fender. It's a pretty big bolt. I think it's a 5/8, if I remember correctly. Or maybe it's a 1/2 inch. I don't know what it is. I think it's actually a 1/2 inch bolt. 9/16. There we go. It's a 9/16 bolt that goes through the fender into the cab. This truck has never had those before, and I put them in there. There's always been that little gap between this stiff back here and the fender. Well, I put it in here, and holy cow, it's stiffened the front of this truck up something fierce. It used to kind of all just kind of independently rock because, it's got the rubber bushings stock. It's got the 4 cabs and then this, and it kind of floats between. It was always kind of this woo, woo, woo. And honestly, I looked at that before and thought, man, there's probably something that goes there. And then I never did it. Well, when I bought the bolt kit, it came with that bolt. I'm like, sweet. So I chased those threads and put it on both sides, and boy, that tightened up the front end something fierce. So, yeah, food for thought. The fender went in. That, you can kind of see there, is a tight fit. I thought it kind of would be. In hindsight, I probably would have drilled that hole more that way, but neither here nor there. It works. So it comes out, turns the corner. I do not have enough hose. My hose that I chopped off on the inside was not long enough to make it all the way down, so you can actually rotate that up. So I'm going to go buy some more 1/2 inch hose and extend it out the bottom, which I should have already done, but I didn't. Honestly, I was kind of hoping that it would work, so I didn't have to buy any more stuff. But yeah, now that's that. Fender's back in. It's in for good. All my wiring clears. Everything's loose. Nothing's chafing on anything. These are my positive and negative terminals here, and they come up just fine. Everything's loose. Nothing. Well, I mean, it's not chafing on anything. It's not tucked into anything. So yeah. So I think right now I am going to start working on some hoses. Do the heater hoses first, and kind of see how that goes and lay them in there. And I don't know. I guess you kind of follow along for the ride and see where this goes. It's hot outside today. I think yesterday was 99, I think today they were calling for maybe 96, 95, something like that. But it's hot. So, it's hot in here too. I know, I'm complaining. I could be working outside or in a hot shop. I'm not going to complain about this much more, but I'm sweating a little bit. So I'm getting kind of soft in my old age. But anyway, I'm just rambling here. So I'm going to get all the hoses back out, dust them off, and see what we can do to make this all work here. The AC lines and heater lines. I didn't film any of it because I've actually been on the phone talking to everybody I know, trying to get their opinion on these lines. YouTubers, friends, family, everybody, trying to figure out what I want to do here, how I want to lay these out. I know that the heater hoses had to come out and turn 90. Well, they didn't have to, but the way that these fittings are, the 90-degree fittings, I wanted to keep them away from all of this and have it so I can actually service the engine. I can still get to all the spark plugs and away from the heat of the headers. So I turned everything this way. I got my heater line down there, my supply and my return with the valve in it. I wanted the valve to be there, kind of, again, serviceable, so it's easy to get to. So it's been literally 2 hours of talking with everybody I know to come up with the way they are routed, to kind of get them so that they look like it is supposed to be here and it's not supposed to be just thrown together. So I've got my heater lines coming out and they go up on top, and I've got my 2 lines coming out and they go this way. The big one goes to the compressor on this side. The little one goes down and around and connects down here. Then I have a line coming back from the condenser that loops up and around and goes into the compressor. So originally, I had them kind of all stacked on top of each other, 2, 2, and 1, and it just looked out of place. I sent a bunch of pictures to everybody, and everybody was looking, and it was a hot mess. I didn't like it. So actually talking to Mr. Griff 23, he's on YouTube. I'll drop a link to him below. He builds some really nice cars. And he kind of gave me, I sent the pictures to him and said, hey, man, what do you think? Any suggestions? I'm struggling here. And he said, what if you lay them kind of flat? So I was like, okay. So I took them apart and kind of broke them out because I had this odd number of hoses. So it kind of was weird. So what I did was I laid my 4 hoses flat, and then I brought this hose up and around and connected it where the one drops off and goes down here. I pick up the new one. So it's still kind of, I don't know, it just flows better. So I think this is the setup I'm going to go with. Everything looks really good. Yeah, I think this is going to be, it's going to be good. I do need to check and make sure that I can put that valve upside down like that with the actuator on the bottom. Hopefully so, because I don't have a whole lot of room. I might be able to turn it so that the actuators on the back side. I don't know. That's a problem for another day. So a painfully slow day, but just lots of, because you can only cut these hoses. Well, you can cut them as many times as you want if you want to keep making them and buying all the fittings and everything. But I only want to cut these hoses once for the air conditioner. Because I've got to go to a friend's house and use his crimper to put those on there. And I just kind of want to get it right. So I wanted everything kind of flowing together. So I ended up with a 90-degree fitting here and the 135 here. The 135s came with the kit. This 135, I didn't use a 135 here primarily because, well, it worked out. I have that fitting that's going to go down here. I need a straight section of hose, and I was running into problems trying to get it up and back. So it was kind of coming up and then going back down, and then it would have to come back uphill to this. This takes that out because the way the angles are, it just works a lot better. So I have a 90 here and then the 135 here. That will allow some room here. It's going to be tight, but it will allow room to get our fitting on, get the dipstick out. There's a lot going on there, but it's just kind of the nature of the beast. It actually worked out really well. I like it. So I did not get as far as I wanted to today. It's frustrating, but that's how it goes. I'd rather lose time thinking about making it the way I want it than just blasting through it and then regretting it. So I think I'm going to call it quits today. Kind of a short video, but I have got this figured out. So I'm going to cut all these things down, take them to my buddy's house, get them swedged on there with his crimper. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5 crimps to make for. I've got the 2 on either end of my pressure sensor assembly. So I'll get them cut, I'll get them marked, we'll get them crimped, we'll put them back in, hook up the heater hoses, and yeah. I did order a Motion Raceworks, and I don't know if I've mentioned this or not, but I do have a Motion Raceworks alternator pulley that I'm going to put on here, so I got a longer belt coming for that. Just sitting here staring at it earlier, that belt, well, my thumb's in the way, the belt and the bolt there are really close to each other. If I put that larger pulley on, I don't know if that's going to hit or not. I don't know if I have to put a different type of bolt on there. I can put a pan head on it or something, but I don't know. We'll figure that out. So, kind of a bummer time-wise today, but we have got a plan. To me, that's more important. So, anyway, I'm going to cut it off and quit rambling. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to. Share the video. Share it with your friends. Have them come over, check it out. I'm dubbing this officially the longest vintage air install ever. It has taken forever, but we're almost done. So that's it for now. I'm going to get out of here. Happy Sunday. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.